Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I want to say that I am very glad that it's a sunny day today. I'm not glad that it's a windy day today, but I'm also glad I'm not getting all the snow that they're getting in New York or got in New York. I am so glad we did not get that. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Um, but anyway, I kind of wanted to talk about the two videos I did, one about supplementing my chickens and one about supplementing my goats with freshies. And I'm going to tell you, I believe this is what's made the difference with like my 6-year old chickens laying like my 2-year old chickens. They're still laying like that. Now, my Brahmas generally will quit laying in the wintertime, and they always have. I don't light my birds. I heat them up, but I don't light them for egg production. I think it is the time that they need to heal. And then I start throwing, the milk and dairy to them when they're going through molt. And in wintertime, it ensures that the eggshell looks good. They're not using too much of their own calcium or their vitamin D that they're not getting from the sun by being out free ranging. And so that is why it is so important to give, well, it is important for me to give my chickens extra calcium, vitamin D, all of that stuff that they are not getting at all in the wintertime. And here they are, they're laying eggs. So they're producing eggs, and you have to feed the need. And their need is to make eggs, which is a need for calcium. Um, Without being able to lay in the sun, they're going to need vitamin D. All of that is intertwined. Not being able to go and graze off the yard or in the woods. They need them extra greens. That's what helps them as well. So for me to give them dairy and greens and scraps and fat this morning, um, I took the pork roast out of the juice that I had accumulated. That was the broth it cooked in with the fat. And I got that boiling, and I poured in some pasta noodles. I poured in, once I got the pasta all done and there was still some juice in there, I brought it outside and I put a huge dump of chicken layer crumble in it. Um, they love that stuff. They had scrambled eggs today. They had some shells crunched in that egg mixture. They had bread today. They had greens today. Um, the other day they had all the little chicken legs from the wings I had. I let them pick it. It gives them something to do. Um, the goats, I believe that the extra vitamins and minerals from the fresh fruits and vegetables are just a great add to everything else that I feed. I do have sweet feed. They don't get much of that. That's one thing a day, like just one little thing a day for both of them. They have goat pellets. They get that once a day. They get their alfalfa pellets once a day, and we're talking little amounts. This keeps me working with them. This this allows them to eat a little bit and digest a little bit, since they're not getting the hay that they were getting before. I would throw out a couple flakes of hay a day. Now they're getting handfuls of bagged hay. I'm buying the Timothy alfalfa blended hay. Now, I did buy some that had probiotics in it, and it's a wet, moist hay, and it smells like chewing tobacco. So I went to Tractor Supply and talked to the goat girl, and that's what I'm going to call her, the goat girl. And I said, it's horrible. I said, it smells like chewing tobacco, and they don't want anything to do with it. And this is what she told me. She said, if your goats were lacking the probiotics that they need for digestion, they would want it. And I said, so you're saying is I'm feeding them correctly so they don't need something like that? And she says, absolutely correct. And then she started naming off all the fruits and vegetables and all the different grains and hays and different blends of stuff I'm feeding them. And she's like, they're fine. They're getting what they need. So, I worry about them. I do keep the little probiotic cookies. I'll tell you what, Lily just absolutely loves those. She would kill Orchid for those. Like, she loves those. Those are her favorite things in the world. And so I also do Cheerios. That's another treat, a crunchy treat that I give them. So I believe that feeding from the grocery store to your flock can help you keep your budget for them down. And you're like, well, how can you do that if you're spending this at the grocery store? Well, they don't get it all. They just get a little bit. You know, great milk deals, they get milk. Great sour cream deals, they get sour cream. Great yogurt deals, whatever. Great meat deals. My cat, he has to have food. He eats dry food, but he's an old cat. I don't care. I love him. And I bake him chicken thighs or legs or breasts if I have some of those frozen and I didn't grab a tray of thighs cheaply. Like this week, I don't think I'm going to be getting cheap chicken unless I find it reduced. So, we just roll with it. But I think that supplementing is very important, especially when they're not getting the sun. They still need that vitamin D. They're making eggs, they need the calcium. The babies get cold, their blood sugar goes down, something happens freaky weird. I've got Karo syrup. I also have the drench, the Nutri-Drench. I did that a couple of times in their water. I filled it up once and then they would drink, and I made it warm. I made her want it. But before she even got up to go to the water, I gave her some oranges, thinly sliced oranges. She loves carrots. That's her favorite. So I julienne some carrots. And so I got her to eat leaves of green, fresh, groceried greens, kale, lettuce, whatever. And I believe that's what helped her because it allowed her to get what she needed in her before she would get too cold, which that took the heater. But doing those things through diet is so important. And it can also make it a little less need for veterinarian care. I did go and get one of the tubes of the, oh, vitamin B complex. I did get a tube of that just to have that on hand. And I did get some electrolyte and vitamin powder. So I have that on hand. Those are things I always had on hand, even with dogs. I can remember when you could keep terramycin powder. It was for poultry and water, and I had given that to a neighbor dog. I made a concoction, and this dog would get sick every year. Well, he was living with a smoker, so he would get pneumonia like every other animal that smokes or has secondary smoke. And so I would make him a concoction and it would break it up and he would do fine for a while. He was an older dog, so it was really hard on him. I mean, he had a whole life of breathing in secondhand smoke. So, anyway, doing those natural things I think is very important. Utilizing fruits and vegetables that you are going to use in your weekly cook. Grab a bag of oranges, grab a bag of apples, grab some bananas. That's another thing. Potassium. This morning I threw a couple of the bananas out to the girls in the barns and up here. And some of my girls love bananas, some of them don't. But I can guarantee you the ones that like bananas are getting that extra potassium and all of that they need in their diet. So try something different. When I have leftover cereals or I have leftover potato chips, I know it has lots of salt. I know it has crap in it that they shouldn't have, but I shouldn't have eaten it either. But you know what? I'm not going to waste it, and they're going to eat the same thing I eat. There you go. That's it. Y'all have a great day. If that didn't make sense with you, I don't know what will. Bye, y'all. Hugs from a distance. Shop for your animals.